Similar practices. Most relevant Yamnaya practices, as well as practices of their supposed genetic and linguistic descendants, are extremely similar to those of the Amazon Amerinds, this at least so for an extended period of time, 1,000 or more years. Amongst these practices are: cremate or mummify their deaths or their bones. To dedicate urns and or pits to their deaths, that fit the deaths as well as objects. Bury their deaths and or their bones and eventual objects in human-made mounds, often shared with others of their group. Objects can vary from foods and tools to whole chariots and horses. Family members that passed away even when in different periods are reunited. Individuals are relocated to other quite distant places for some reasons. The human-made mounds gradually and occasionally evolve in ziggurats, pyramids, this from the Americas in the east to Mesopotamia more in the west and beyond. Most of the earliest mounds, ziggurats, pyramids, habits, symbols and artifacts migrate east from the Americas to West Africa and beyond, this according to the ocean currents, that run in the direction opposite to the consensus direction, which is opposite and from Africa to the east, to Oceania and beyond. Practicing chiefdom systems. Skin similarities. DNA similarities. With the important details. A. That the common root is located in the Americas. B. DNA similarities also with Alfanasievo in Siberia, Altai region, that are inland from yet another route from the Americas. Since Alfanasievo in Siberia, Altai region, are indistinguishable, most conclude they migrated inside Eurasia. We claim they entered in a similar fashion as all others, but directly from the Americas pushed forward and eventually also backwards by the Atlantic gyres. We claim the rapid spread was because of simultaneous migrations directly from the American Cradles with the root genetics. Steppe groups living in cold regions cannot reproduce quickly enough to explain the extremely rapid expansion, especially so since it were male-dominated migrations and expansions, sex bias was present, with no stable family situations to be expected. Domesticate horses and ride domesticated horses. Also similarities with the thousands of years later Vikings, which we claim initially also arrived directly from the Americas. The ancestors of horses and cattle are native to the Amazon forest and the Americas, and are brought, probably already domesticated, from the Americas during the migrations and turnover events as described in detail, including with the necessary genetic evidence often provided by geneticist David Reich. By the way, nor the ancestral markers, nor none of the above is true for out of Africa. Symbols and artifacts involving deities that can be found across the world, and were present in South American myths from thousands of years before Columbus, this including in places that leave no doubt about extremely capable navigational capacities. Negating evidence. By systematically negating evidence and proof, consensus systematically prejudice the development and spread of proofs, evidence, as well as the true and scientifically proven human history. Yamnaya and related groups all over the steppes from Hungary to the Mongolian steppes, all the way from west to east Eurasia, also associated with later silk-like roots, presented early horse riding, and lactose tolerance from onset, which makes no scientific sense, at least not evolutionary or in adaptation sense, if they did not have domesticated horses and milk providing animals also from onset. Amazon practices fade. Certainly from 2000 BC on, these initial Amazon Amerindian practices began to fade away, or were replaced, and we modern humans today are quite unfamiliar with them, and do not give them the scientific attention that they deserve. We claim this happened contemporary with the rise of especially monotheistic religions. One could see monotheistic religions as more intolerant to what was from before them, and to those not equal or to those not supporting them as they demanded. Further monotheistic religions are related to persecution and religious wars, as well as unifications and divisions, and probably followed up already ongoing deunifications and possibly consequential collapses. Like for instance the Bronze Age collapses. Education and religions, as well as Darwinism, do not point out this loss of unification, caused by them, also the loss of unification with nature and sustainability they caused, and how it started to impede and still impedes us to thrive and solve challenges until today, and even to see our potential to thrive and solve. The paradigm of the supposed absence of Neanderthal and Denisovan DNA in sub-Saharan Africans, that haunted and still haunts the out of Africa hypotheses, is non-existent in the case of out of Americas, this since the haplotype B006, which is an X-link haplotype, and a genetic marker found in non-African populations, and is linked to Neanderthals and Denisovans, presents particularly high frequencies in Amerindians in the Americas. In other words, there is no need to invent or support a complex series of highly improbable interbreeding events. This because in the case of out of Americas the supposed DNA is available in the highest frequencies of the world all over the Americas. It is also quite notable that the ancestral markers, which are obvious and the best scientific instruments that should be best known by scientists and the general public alike, are almost not known at all, not even their existence, let alone the self-evidence to use them, and to validate what they prove us. It seems that the instruments that provide the best proof and evidence in favor of out of the Americas and the true human history are selectively not mentioned.